In the start of manhwa, everyone asking from Saintess to choose husband from 3 candidates. Crown Prince Kyle Alemis allied. Duke Cass Cloud. The High Priest Rehaz de El. Everyone is interested in the as well as gods 2 gods, interested in decisions. Then Saintess Ariel woke from sleep. Annie, her maid, asked is she feeling well? And worried that why Saintess asking for her name since 2 day. Saintess makes excuse that she wasn't feeling well. Annie informs that is to go Crown Prince birthday banquet. After that maid left. Saintess starts summarizing memorize that she is in novel, The of Saint Camilla. The novel was about saint named Camilla who gets courted by 3 incredibly handsome men. She is a daughter of a lowly baron in countryside and she is wedlock child Ariel who will die and all 3 guys will become Camilla's husband. She made a deal with Pope to become temporary saint to stabilize the political standing of Crown Prince and Pope. Since she knows the ending, but now she don't want to die, and have to survive anyhow. Then suddenly blue screen pop up in front of her and there is messages from God that gods are interested in her and her decisions. Then Pope's come by himself to give Ariel breakfast. Ariel took his name accidentally and then realized she did a mistake cause in reality Pope is not as nice person as seen. She apologized to Pope. Pope said that he came cause he want seen Ariel and now she also looked different. Then he left. Ariel thought of survival and start making a plan to save money and live happy life. Then to gods who were bored ask Ariel what she is doing. Then Annie came and Ariel asked from maid can she see anything in air. Annie decline, thinks Saintess is ill and maid said I really hope for your quick recovery, your holiness. Ariel thought the blue box is visible to her only. Maid said since you're this weak, I bet you'll have a lot of difficulty carrying out your duties. Ariel thought something is off with the way maid talks and come to think of it. All I did the past 3 days was eat, sleep, and read. Camilla, the real saint, would visit temples in different regions and meet priests there or have an audience with the emperor and the crown prince regularly. I probably don't have any official duties because I'm not the real saint. I'm supposed to be weak because I need an excuse to stay cooped up in the temple. A fake like me can't perform the tasks of the real saint. Annie maid said I told you before my brother got injured. Well, it turns out that he's in debt so I think he'll need more of my help. Ariel thought why she is telling her all of this. Then maid said can she raise her allowance that she gave her every month and smile at Ariel. Ariel thought she has seen such smile before. It's the same smile I saw from those who looked down on me for being an illegitimate child in a rich family and still tried to take advantage of my background. That disgusting look in her eyes reminds me of the people I have seen in my past life. In the novel, Ariel was a naive, emotional villainess. Annie, who's gone through a pretty rough life as a maid, must have taken her for easy target but I am not Ariel. Ariel said Annie. Maid yes your holiness. Ariel asked have I been giving you money? Maid flinch yes your highness you said you were worried about my brother and showed kindness to him. Why are you asking me that again all of a sudden? Ariel asked how much did I give you? Maid reply you gave me 650 fran a month. I'm not asking for much just 50 fran would be enough. Ariel thought a maid's monthly salary would be 200 fran at the most, and Ariel gave her 650 fran more? That explains why there was nothing in her pockets. Ariel said to maid I was a pushover, wasn't I? Annie startled. Ariel in cold tone I was such a pushover that even a maid used me. Well, that's disappointing. You don't seem to be in a good mood today. Why don't you think about it and let me know later? No. I'll make it clear right now. I'm not giving you any more money. Annie flinch. Ariel you should be paid more than enough for being the saint's maid. Why are you still asking me for money? If you're that worried about your brother, bring him to me. I heard the temple stable is in need of more workers. If your brother seems useful, I'll find a place for him to work. Maid shouts your highness. Ariel thought the shock you feel when you realize someone you thought was below you was actually above you. I know that kind of look all too well because I've seen it plenty of times in my past life. That's why her attitude was so haughty for a maid. She took me ask a pushover. Maid shouts Your Highness, and in trembling voice said it seems you have forgotten something important, so let me give you a reminder. I know that you are fake. Ariel thought that's right. Real Ariel wasn't the compassionate type who would take pity on her maid and give her money, that she was just stupid enough to shudder at such a ridiculous threat. Maid said you don't want me to go out and tell everyone that you're a fake, do you? Ariel said fine, go ahead. Annie, surprised, thought what did Ariel said? Ariel thought it looks like Ariel kept her quiet by raising her allowance without complaint. It was probably 300 or 400 fran at first. And look at her asking for 700 fran now. Well, not anymore. Ariel said to Annie, go and tell everyone. Annie said if I tell that you will. Ariel cuts her words and replied I'll get executed once I'm found to be a fake, but you know something. What do you think would happen to a maid who's been covering up for a fake saint for 650 fran a month? What would be your fate? Since I'm a noble's daughter, they'll probably let me die a fast death at the very least. But I doubt they would be so generous to a maid. Annie shouts in fear, Your Holy Highness. Ariel, perhaps you might beg to be beheaded with a guillotine like me. Annie flinch. Ariel, you should have told everyone the moment you found out I was fake. Why did you just decide to get in the same boat? You realize your life on the line, yes, and by any chance, does your family know about this? Annie is in fear and shouts no. It's just me. I'm the only one who knows that you're a fake. Ariel thought it's true. Annie said her family has nothing to do with this. Ariel, I'll have to ask your family myself, don't you think? Annie shouts in fear, Your Holy Highness. I've been so horribly rude. You don't have to pay me anymore. I'm so sorry for what I've done. I'll never do it again. Ariel thought that she can't believe advantage of her. Annie begged to Ariel, Your Holy Highness, please forgive me this once. Then Pope arrive. Pope swing his sword and slash Annie. And said it was an urgent situation, so I had no choice but to execute her immediately. Ariel thought Rahaz did right. Annie played dirty and blackmailed me with my secret. If he let her live, my identity would have been exposed sooner or later. Rahaz said go and get some rest, he will clean the place, and Rahaz left. Ariel heart pounding, and she thought Rahaz did right, and just like how he killed Annie without asking anything, one day, he might swing his sword toward her as well. Then message pop up, the bored gods are curious about Ariel, cleverness, judgment, clamminess. Scene shifts to Pope. He is think that Ariel was foolish child and pushover and endured all mistreatment in temple and know how boldly she acted in front of maid. Scene shifts back to Ariel. She is making budget to save money and live her life peacefully. Gods can't understand and ask what is she doing. Then Rahaz came back to room. She greets him and asked what she was doing. She panicked, and him gave him congratulatory speech page for banquet. He read it and become curious, causes it more look like a love letter. Ariel embarrassed cause it was originally written by pervious saintness, not her. She said she will rewrite. Pope smiles and lefts. Ariel went to library to prepare speech but noticed a noble harassing a trainee priestess. He said he was having short conversation with her. Ariel said she will beshished him from temple, which will be same as banished from society. He argue then revel that she saint. He immediately ask for forgiveness. Saintess don't buzz at all. Then God's message pop up and the says they are curious about her justice. Sense shift, and Ariel read in the books that God's always watches Saintess. She thinks she is fake Saintess. How can this happen? How can Gods communicate with her? She wants to stop the pop-ups, but the Gods went furious, and the Ariel apology and said she will not turn off. God became happy and Hest, the god of knowledge, give her the knowledge of blessed her with knowledge. Now Ariel is also happy. She start writing speech for banquet. Next day Pope arrive at Ariel's room. Ariel greets well and apologizes for her immature behavior and speech and said she will do best now. Pope said she doesn't have to worry because this is her home now, so she doesn't have to about anything. He asked for new speech. Pope read it. He then said it was excellent speech and also addressed that what happens in library, and he banished the noble and his whole family. Gods are very curious about Pope, said that he has impure heart, but some gods likes his appearance. Pope leave the room. Then God start disc using about Pope his appearance. Ariel feels dizzy from all of this. Scene shifts and focus on Pope. He is thinking how Ariel is like a whole new person. Her eyes are so blue and her smile. Then High Priest came and start cursing Pope that how could he banish believer and shouts, but Pope doesn't budge and give High Priest task to investigate in far away. Scene shifts to Ariel. Ariel said it might be dangerous for her trainee. But trainee keeps begging and Ariel agreed. Now Ariel has to go palace for Prince's birthday. Dwayne, captain of Holy Heights, escort Ariel. On the way, Ariel saw a crowd of people cheering for her, and think she is fake saint, but God of knowledge is displeased with Ariel words. Ariel Saintess arrived to banquet and grant welcoming of her. She greets and gives her blessing to Crown Prince. Then suddenly a blast happens. Ariel thought gods are upset, causes she kissed Prince. Then atmosphere of banquet went ominous. Ariel, though everyone thinks gods doesn't like Prince, but Ariel said gods told her they are pleased with Crown Prince and send their blessing you. After that Ariel went outside to grass and some fresh air. And then Crown Prince followed her. He demand explanation about her strange behavior and she seems completely different, he said. She didn't understand what he is saying. He said the love letter she sent him. She is shocked and give excuse that it was mistake. Crown Prince got angry. Ariel said she wrote it while she was drunk. Crown Prince said letter was too detailed about her fantasies for him, and how happy she would be if he accepted her. The letter was 10 long page. Ariel said she didn't remember. Crown Prince got angry, and said he couldn't sleep for day past few days. God got angry at Crown Prince and throws the light on him. Ariel is startled from God's behavior. She then ran to her carriage and then a message pop up that God was clearing his throat. Run away from Prince. Now Saintess went to auction house to buy items so that she can sell it and save money for her happy life. In this process Gods helps her to purchase valuable items. Now the trainee priests will serve her and she is overwhelming. Now Gods gives her opportunity to shop for more divine powers or divine items. She purchase a divine pocket in which she can keep anything. Gods are happy with Saintess and they have her real Saintess divine powers. But Ariel still thinks according to novel she is fake, so why Gods gave her this power? Then Pope arrive. Saintess shocked, but Pope asked her to treat her causally and drop formality and call him by his name. Pope said he came to see her just cause he miss her. Ariel is in shocked, then Pope left. Gods are discussing his behavior. Some said he will be nice husband material, but some disagree. Ariel thinks that everything is absurd. Pope confess his feelings for Ariel in front of his deity. Scene shifts. Ariel is strolling in garden and she saw a bird injured. Ariel heals the bird but asks her maiden to not to tell anyone about her divine powers. In same garden Pope is having meeting with Cass Lloyd. Cass isn't a God's believer but still donate money in temple for his merchant group image. Then suddenly the blue bird came and sit on Cass' shoulder. They both are shocked causes the bird was about to die and now totally healed. Ariel came to their meeting point and now she meet 3 protagonists of the novel. Cass Lloyd. A temple person came and informed something to Pope. He left. Cass said he will accompany Ariel. Bluebird sit on Ariel. Cass told her it's his bird who was about to die. Ariel is in shock. Cass asked did she healed bird. She denied. Gods are in stress. Then Crown Prince informed that she is in danger. Pope thinks about Ariel action and thinks she is special. Crown Prince Teal her empress may harm her. Saintess said he is Crown Prince and one day he will be great emperor, then in future he should spare her life. Crown Prince is in flinch. She said she does her best so he should spare her life in future. Crown Prince take oath to protect her. Crown Prince touches her hair and asked about her letter she worded to him. Then a voice came. It's Pope. He interrupt. Crown Prince said they haven't done finish conversation yet. Saintess tried to distract the conversation. Pope said Crown Prince should first take appointment from temple causes Saintess belong to temple. Crown Prince and Pope have heated argument. Crown Prince point his sword to Pope in anger. Ariel is in distress. She went to room in distress state. Her maiden think Crown Prince did something warn Ariel said she had no feelings for him. Maiden C add that everyone in temple knew that she loves Crown Prince and send love letter. Ariel tried to distract and send Maiden away. Ariel went back to sleep. Then two fairy looking kids wake up Ariel and inform that she forgot to turn the chat back on. And now the system is about to be destroyed by some grumpy gods who think they've lost their only viewpoint into the world. Wake up, before the world ends. They both introduce themselves as administrator who assist the system. They beg to Ariel to open that chat room causes gods are in distress. Ariel understand the situation and open it. In morning gods are upset from Ariel and asked tons of questions. Ariel gives false statements that she is shy and what to protect her privacy while bathing, etc. Gods assure her that they never interfere in her personal space. But Ariel said she feels shy and now will close the system when she need privacy. Ariel made some bracelets for God and now gods are happy. Ariel this tactic works and all gods are happy. Last night Ariel talked to administrator that she read a novel and this world is novel, but administrator said that it was a book of prophecy not novel. She read prophecy book. Ariel may be the chosen one and will save the world.
Scene changed and in morning Ariel went to merchant group shop. Ariel Knight asked that as she is going to sell them to the merchant group again. Why she is doing this? He thought she received a regular wage. Ariel responds that she is only following the will of the gods. In her mind she is thinking that she don't have enough money to run away from the temple. Besides, that god Mond helped her again today, so she could say that she is following the will of the gods. When Ariel arrived at merchant shop she saw a woman is bargaining for something. She wants to exchange a precious necklace for Cronia. But the seller said it is a precious item, but he cannot exchange it for Cronia. Why don't he pay you instead? The women said everyone knows the Lloyd Merchant Group has it. If he keep refusing to put it out, she is sure that her employer won't be happy. Seller refused that he can't do that. Sell Cronia is illegal. Lloyd, don't deal with illegal items. She demand to talk to Lloyd the owner. But seller said his lordship is occupied at the moment. She need to make an official appointment to meet him. Knight tells Ariel that Cronia that's a type of narcotics. It's a plant used as a painkiller. But in many cases, it's traded as a drug. Only the temple has the authority to manage it. It can cause an irregular pulse, so it can kill a person if it's misused. The women said does he have any idea sent her and he will regret it. Ariel identify the women. She's the head maid of Empress Rose. Why would the head maid of the Empress look for Cronia? After the maid left Lloyd came and applaud his worker well done, Ron. Getting into a family conflict is the last thing Lloyd want to do. Ariel is shocked she didn't expect Lloyd will be there. Lloyd said he wasn't expecting Her Holy Highness to his shop. Ariel said that she here to sell some items. Ron said she came before to sell an item too, but he never knew she was the saint. Ariel said besides, these things aren't all that useful to her but they can be of use to others. That's why she's selling them. Then he would like to buy the necklace for himself for 10,000 fran. Ariel thinks does the garnet necklace is that valuable. But Ron said it's not worth more than 600 and Lloyd is going overpriced. Ariel thinks 10,000 fran is 10 years worth of living expenses for commoners. And it's about as much as her annual salary. Why in the world would he want to buy a 600 fran necklace for 10,000 fran? Her knight said Your Holiness, this is a great opportunity for her to sell it. But Ariel thought it's fishy and refused to sell necklace and said she will sell rest other items. Lloyd told Ariel actually, necklace piece is a stolen item that belonged to the imperial family. Ariel is shocked. Lloyd suggests don't sell it to anyone and hold on to it. Or she could dispose of it secretly, that is, if she don't want any trouble later on. Ariel said thank you for the advice. Lloyd said he want to get to know her more but it's a shame he won't be able to this time. Scene shifts. Ariel is in her room. She is cursing on God Mond that why he didn't told her about stolen necklace and the stupid buy which was worth of nothing. She spent 900 fran on auction but only made 300 causes of this. On top of that, she ended up catching Cass' attention, which is a big problem. And thinks, why did he try to spend 10,000 Fran in order to get something on her, and Lloyd will never make such deal, he only thinks of profits. The money she have isn't enough to buy a house, let alone escape from the temple. Then Pope Rahaz arrive. He asked from Ariel why she is saving money. Does she thinking of leaving the temple? Ariel hesitate. She start thinking about prophecy book that the first male lead prince was a cold-hearted swordmaster who was stronger anyone else as time passed. He became more and more possessive about Camilla. The second male lead Cassie Lloyd was a merchant who judged and valued people based on a capitalist perspective, but he was also a bold man who did everything he could to make Camilla his once he realized his feelings for her. The third male lead was a priest Rahaz of strong faith, who prayed for Camilla's true happiness. They all had two things in common. First, they fell in love with Camilla. And second, they were indifferent toward Ariel, the fake saint. So Ariel was certain that she would be able to live a peaceful life without attracting their attention as long as she didn't cross the line, but she getting caught with every male lead. Why is everything drifting further away from the original story? Rahaz asked in angry tone, does she want to leave the temple? Ariel hesitate and lie. She said she wants to save money to buy villa. She do get enough rest here, but she also need a place where I can have time to herself. Rahaz buys Ariel lie and said it would be nice for just the two of them to spend time together. Ariel shocked hearing this. Rahaz laughed and said he is understandable that she want to spend some time away from the temple. He won't stop her. He will assign her more guards and he can't let anyone or anything leave even a single scratch on her. Rahaz left. Ariel thinks something is definitely off. He wasn't that kind of character before. At this rate, her plan to run away and live a rich, carefree life will go up in smoke. Gods are betting on all three male protagonists. Ariel is in distress and said she doesn't wants to date anyone and don't mean to take the heroine's position at all. She do think that all three of them are attractive characters. But that's only from a reader's perspective. Now that she is actually Ariel, her first priority is to get away from them and survive. Being stabbed and dying again is the last thing she wants. Scene shift and now Ariel and her maiden went to the eve of festival. The maiden looks so excited, it's every priestess's dream to go to the night market during the festival. Ariel bought glass cookies for maiden. They both are enjoying festival. Maiden is worried that the Pope will be furious with you if he finds out they sneaked out. Ariel said, are you still worried about that? He's probably too busy receiving guests. Ariel thanks her for lending her clothes to her. Maiden said that Ariel beauty is unmatchable. Ariel and Maiden noticed that two men are following them. Ariel got idea. She said let lure them in quiet place. Maiden said it's risky. Ariel said she had already prepared something for such time. The guys took Ariel bait and followed her. Little did they know that Ariel just want to test her power, which was given by God's seal, God of destruction. The guys fainted. Another guy tried to approach Ariel, then suddenly a dagger pierced his hand. Everyone is shocked. The dagger was thrown by none other than Lloyd. The guy cursed and ran away. Lloyd asked what is Ariel doing there without holy nights, and it seems like she have a knack for things like this. Ariel said all she did was push him away slightly, but he passed out. Ariel said he did threw dagger with such a distance. Lloyd mimicked all he did was throw the dagger, but it hit the target. After little chat, Lloyd asked Ariel can he escort her. Daisy went away and asked Ariel to enjoy with Lloyd. Ariel is in distress causes she again caught up with one of the male protagonists. Someone children's was playing. Ariel said it is dangerous for those children to go about on their own. Lloyd informed her that they are orphans. If they're unlucky, they either join a thief guild and become a pickpocket, or if they're lucky, they manage to survive by running errands for merchant guilds. By the looks of it, I think the former applies to them. Without faith in the gods, you can't be a part of mainstream society. But there are many things that can't be explained if gods really exist, thus he didn't believe in gods. Ariel said he may not think that way, but gods really exist. They're not perfect, but at least they're trying. So before we blame the gods, how about we try to change the world with our own hands? Since she is close to the deities, she will ask them to work a bit harder. Causes she is saintess. Lloyd said, does she remember what he said before? I told you I wanted to get to know you. Whenever he see her he filled with curiosity. Ariel is flustered and thinks even this man, who's known to be heartless, has a normal heartbeat. Ariel call herself a ordinary person, that why she get flustered. But Lloyd said when a person calls themselves ordinary, that's usually not the case. Ariel said, is this how you flirt with girls? Lloyd smirked and said, do I look like someone who'd do that? Ariel flustered and panicked and excused herself. She should get back now. There are a lot of interesting things at the night market, so have fun looking around. Ariel think that she don't think will be able to keep a straight face if she continue to stay with him. Daisy is a priestess who's serving her, so she shouldn't have left me alone. She should make this clear when she get back. Lloyd said, see you again, holiness. The first day of festival today, Ariel will perform her official duties as the saint for the second time. Everyone came to get blessings from Saintess Ariel. Please grant the blessing of the 9 deities. All 3 protagonists are also present there with Ariel. Ariel grant all of them blessings. All 9 gods also grant them blessings. Ariel thinks that even so she feel kinda proud of herself. Maybe this is the right place for her. The festival went smoothly. Ariel take rest in the garden and asked Daisy to bring her some tea. Ariel noticed that in the garden there are many white roses. Rahaz came and greet Ariel. He plucked one flower and gave it to Ariel. Ariel said it's beautiful, but she feel bad about snapping it off its stem. Rahaz said the more he know about her the more confused he get. She said the same thing when she first came to temple, but he can't help it. He said once said Ariel wanted to see white rose. They will bloom in the back garden all year long for her. When cold winds begin to blow he will move them to the greenhouse. She will be able to see these in winter as well. Ariel thinks does he planted all these for her. Rahaz said as long she is in temple he won't have to pick any flowers, but if she leave the temple he will pluck a bunch and bring them with him whenever he come see Ariel. Indirectly he is threatening Ariel not to leave temple. Rahaz have news to Ariel that in the Chiagu district a young woman holy power has appeared. Scene shifts. Ariel is feeling down. She is thinking about her conversation with Rahaz. She knows that Ariel isn't the real saint and she already made up my mind to leave before Camilla turned up, but she was supposed to appear 5 years from now. She can't believe the real saint showed up already. Ariel lose her appetite. She remember correctly, Camilla manifested holy power after she received a certain holy artifact from Reed, the deity of eternity. In that case this artifact would have been taken off the sales list. Besides, Camilla's hometown is Ares, while the Chiagu district is on the opposite side of the empire. Then who is that girl from the Chiagu district? Ariel asked from gods do they know anything about the saint in Chiagu, but no reply. Ariel is pissed off. She think even if she's not Camilla she would still have to step aside for the real saint. But she can't forget Rahaz's words that nothing will change even real saintess arrived. She will still live in temple. He knows better than anyone that she need to leave the temple, so why did he say such a thing? He even threatened her to keep the secret. Does his plan to lock her in dungeon? God Hest says that she guessed right. Mond is trying to cover Hesed's mouth. Odyssey blushes while talking about dangerous tastes and love. Ariel is pissed on gods that now you're talking. All of them were so quiet when she asked them a question. Then suddenly Ariel hear knock on window, but she thinks who will be there at 4th floor. Then window opened. Did you not hear me knock? Prince said. Ariel is shocked. He said he came to kidnap Saint Ariel. He said as he thought she looks gloomy he said he is here to take her away. Ariel still can't believe that Prince is there. She asked why he is there. He said he came to kidnap her. He lift her up and said keep quiet, otherwise does she wants him to make her quiet. Ariel flustered. Ariel thought he went insane. Prince jumps from 4th floor. They landed safely. Crown Prince asked her does she get hurt. Ariel said no, but just worried about what will happen when someone finds out she left like this. Crown Prince said he will just kill everyone who would dare to find fault with her. Ariel asked where they are going. Crown Prince asked to follow him. It's his first time kidnapping someone alive, so he is not used to explaining things. Ariel felt worried. Crown Prince said that there's nothing like a nice walk when you have a headache. He brought her to the field filled with flowers. He asked did she heard that the real saint appeared, right? Ariel replies yes, so Rahaz told her. Rahaz and Prince decided to tell people that the deities chose a new saint because Ariel too weak to wield holy power. Ariel understand. So Crown Prince here to propose her new position in his palace. The Imperial Palace, few days ago before Prince meeting with Ariel. Your Highness. Little Duke Rockford Shane. Barge into Crown Prince room. After all, how long will you intend to stay still? Crown Prince asked what he means. Duke said the Empress is pregnant. You should carry out your duty as a successor, shouldn't you? Princess said if she gives birth to a son, he will have a younger brother. Your Highness. Duke shouts you've denied the daughter of the Duke Hemigson family. You even denied the saintess is the rumor that interested in men, is that true? Crown Prince replied even if only that rumor were true, he wouldn't choose Duke. Crown Prince is angry. A few months ago. Crown Prince reading previous Ariel love letter. The fake saintess sent me a letter. That was such an annoying letter. How she thought about me every night. How she wanted to share love. She even about married life with me. He felt annoyed by letter and thinks should I cut her neck. That was such an arrogant thought to a saintess. Crown Prince thought that he would deal with her at the banquet. But after a few months, he saw that girl Ariel again. That figure was different from what he has been seen up until then. Noble eyes and a precious figure. The image when talking was also very proper. It's like she really became the real saintess. And her ability to react is very quickly too. When she called Ciel's name, he was very surprised that she even hid her intelligence and acted like she didn't know anything. Or she's really a fool. When she opened her eyes anyway, she looked so cute. Prince realized he is having weird thoughts about Ariel. Does he is crazy why he is thinking about Ariel that way? A servant can inform Crown Prince that he got received have a letter from the temple. Present time. Ariel asked from Crown Prince do he have any jobs for her. Crown Prince asked does she have any places to go after leaving the temple. Ariel said does he is worrying that he will become a homeless person, but she had already done preparing everything for her life after leaving the temple, he don't need to worry. Crown Prince said that a stable life is what she wanted up until now, isn't it, and her situation is in Rahaz's hands. Even if she returned to her homeland, the future is not bright. And for the sake of political stability, she played the role of the fake saintess, so if she go to the palace, she will be treated very well. Ariel thought she will be not welcome by her family causes she is illegitimate child. For the sake of political stability? Did he mean the Empress is pregnant? Ariel thought. But, if she go to the imperial palace, she will become Crown Prince weakness. Ariel refuse. Because the Empress has noticing me. Crown Prince cut her word and speak still she made such a decision. He tried to convince she not to scare you meant after leaving the temple. You have the plan to disappear without anyone knowing. But, no matter what we do, the Empress still has a way to find out my weakness through you. So this is a good suggestion for both of us. She can't do anything to my person in the imperial palace. Ariel surprised and said that she need more time to think. It's an important matter, she need to think wisely, she doesn't want to become his weakness, that is most important now. Crown Prince replied in disappointed tone that he don't want to see her corpse after she leave the temple. He will come back tomorrow. Ariel is now in her room in distress state thinking why is everything so messed up. Then the gods are also angry. God of art despises his qualities for breaking in. The god of knowledge agrees with the opinion of the god of art. The god of destruction suddenly bit the leg of the god of knowledge. A fight is happening among gods like a normal human family. Ariel shouts on gods and said she is very tired. What the hell are they doing? Ariel thinks about her conversation and thought that Crown Prince is right. If she leave the temple without good, she will definitely die. But she is a person who is always tested by lightning at any time. There are invincible gods who always bless her. She She thought it won't be a problem if she used some useful items from the shop. Indeed, she should refuse Crown Prince, the main protagonist, and now she thought that's the case. There is only one problem left, is distressed tone. Despite rejecting Crown Prince's offer, the person considers her a weakness. Then what is the way to survive?
The next day, after a short while, I went to an art auction and stopped by Lloyd's Merchant. After selling a few things there, behind me were Dwayne and 2 knights following. At that moment, Dwayne asked, "Am I going back to temple?" I replied yes. "'Cause after all I can't go around the streets with 3 men's on my tail." Then, I looked with satisfaction at the balance of a little over 2,000 francs and set out on the road. It is said that Chiago's girl will come after the Rose Festival is over. But even then, even if I buy a holy relic to protect myself, this will be the minimum amount of money for my independence. I put my pocket in, and walked towards the main road. Swoosh! I heard the sound of something running fast from the side of the main road. It was a sharp brown horse. A young man in noble attire was riding on the horse. It was Lord Mikhail, wasn't it? His sister is the Empress. Dwayne asked about my well-being. Then, I heard the murmurs of people saying, "Ooh." And after a while, there was a loud noise as if something was falling apart. It was Lord Mikhail, wasn't it? His sister is the Empress. There was nothing in this world that scares him. And I saw people gathering in the place where the horse had. What should we do? I think his back is completely broken. And it seems like he has no chance of living. We should inform his parents. But I think he is an orphan and from some guild. I went straight to them with a hardened expression on my face at the word, child. My heart was beating anxiously. A child of 7 or 8 years old, dressed in shabby clothes, his body was drenched in blood, and his legs were protruding bones. Dwayne, who had followed me, asked not to run like this. I said to him, "Bring a stretcher and take the child to that inn immediately." "It's an order," I shouted at him loudly, and he was dazed, then asked the knights to get a stretcher. Hurry. Human life was very tenacious. Just as I was stabbed that day and felt pain until I died. The paladins came quickly to find a stretcher, and when the child was put on the stretcher, his blood flowed down. I was filled with a sense of certainty. "Rent me a room, please." "I'll give you 10 times the price, but I can't rent you a room for a dead," the innkeeper replied. "This child isn't dead. I speak in the name of the Saintess of Ilium. I give you my words. I knew I can save him." The innkeeper hesitated, and I firmly appointed the innkeeper. At that time I thought about my past life. My past life was not different than my present life of Ariel in this novel. In my past life, I had been both the victim and the perpetrator. It's not my fault that I was born an illegitimate child, but my presence has shaken the peace of the family horribly. Everyone pointed at me, hated me, and despised me. So I decided to hate them too. I pushed those who tried to trap me into the abyss. And I did more harm to those who tried to harm me. Monster, vicious thing. Such words followed me. But I couldn't help it. That was the only way I could live like a hedgehog. I only knew how to hurt. But I was also a human being. It was the first time I felt it while saving someone and dying. After telling them to leave the child, I told Dwayne and the knights to leave. I stretched out my hands and laid them on the child's chest with a strong desire. My palms began to twirl with warmth, contrary to me practicing controlling the blessing I received from Seal. I didn't have any time to practice the sacred power. Therefore, I didn't know in what way my sacred power reached the child as a healing power. Although the child's appearance itself was disastrous, I didn't feel disgusted at all. Only infinite sympathy, regret, and willingness to save a dying life filled my mind. The energy that was circling in my hands began to be sucked into the child's. The sacred power is the power of the gods, and my hand is the faucet. I could feel the sacred power overflowing and filling my body, but the sacred power delivered to the child through my hands was at the level of dripping water, as if the faucet hadn't been turned all the way. The child's life was gradually withering away. Like a broken flower. At that moment, I felt something piercing out of my hand, and on the contrary, I felt something being absorbed into me, and then, my stomach had been stabbed by the knife and began to ache. I could feel the passage completely open. However, The healing that came from the sacred power wasn't one-sided. My stomach hurt as if the child's pain had been transmitted to me. My stomach hurt. It hurt so much that I was in a cold sweat, but I didn't want to put my hands down. With the stern sense of responsibility that a life is at stake under my hands, and the feeling of encouragement to see the child come out of death, the sacred power that was pouring out of my hand thinned and stopped. I slowly withdrew my hands. A small voice came out of the child. He exerted strength with his hands to the ground and raised his upper body. The child looked at me with fearful eyes. I was trampled on by a horse earlier. I was then able to breathe and be relieved. Did the mist save me? The child asked me. His eyes were sparkling. The gods supported me through the power, but I saved you. I have no money, though. I don't need things like money. How old are you? I'm 10 years old. The child, who seemed to be at most 8, was 10 years old. No wonder his words were so clear. Are you a member of the Thieves' Guild? I asked the child based on what I had heard earlier. He looked at me and nodded his head. After a while, I pulled out my pocket and handed the boy 10 francs. You can buy clothes with this, buy meals and eat them. From now on, if a crazy bastard on a horse runs up to you, dodge it quickly. The child opened his eyes wide and looked at me. In modern terms, it was worth hundreds of thousands of won, which is surprising. He thanks me, but he said he can't take this money, so I said, it's not a free gift. From now on, I'll hire you. At my words, the child made a bewildered expression. I've heard of the Thieves' Guild in the original story, the Thieves' Guild, where all personal information of the continent, as well as the empire, comes and goes. Since I have to leave the temple soon anyway, I need more information to save myself. Realistic information from the Thieves' Guild rather than the limited information about the temple will be helpful. I didn't have to give him useless and worthless money just because he was pitiful, but if it's something that can help each other in the long run, that's a different story. If I can get information from there through this child, it won't be a loss for me either. I saved you from dying. So if I do this, will you be able to trust me? The child nodded his head. I need information from the Thieves' Guild. You just need to periodically sell the information I need. If it's information, what do you mean? I decided to try the child's usefulness first. Is it reliable? I have a garnet necklace that the deceased Empress Dowager gave to the Empress. The octagonal red jewel is shining brightly inside the pure gold decoration. I want to find the material of that necklace. The child nodded his head with a clear look. I understand. Thank you for saving me. Although he said thank you, it was realistic for him to hold the money tightly. I'll be waiting at the 3rd pillar on the east side of the ceremonial hall of the Temple of Ilium at noon in 3 days. So bring the relevant information. You're a member of the Thieves' Guild, so you can sneak into the temple, right? I understand. Leave it to me, miss. And leave from the window, not the door, I said, pointing to the inn's window. It won't be difficult to get to since it's on the 1st floor. There are holy knights outside of the room. We need to keep this deal secret. The child said, I got it. Thanks for saving me. He bowed his head to me once more, turned around, and went over the window. After a while, the door opened, and Dwayne, who was standing in front of the door, I asked, why are you looking so startled? He looked at me and said it was nothing. Then he looked around the room in surprise. Where is the child's body? Dwayne thought he was dead and asked me. The room was covered with blood, and the child's figure was nowhere to be seen. I told him as soon as the child regained his consciousness, he ran away from the window. I was going to order him not to speak, yet I gave up. Everything that Dwayne saw and heard goes to Ray Haas. Anyway, well, he didn't see me healing the child himself, so I guess there won't be any trouble. And I left the room and ordered Dwayne, please clean up the mess. I am going back to the temple. Sir Dwayne looked puzzled. He replied, yes, of course, Holy Highness. Returning to the temple after a tiring day, I stood in front of the mirror and rolled up my top. It's fine now. But I remember feeling the intense pain as if it had been cut with a knife, and after a while, I found a long, half-moon-shaped scar on my navel reflected in the mirror. It looked more like a kind of tattoo on the skin rather than a rough scar. It was the place where I had been stabbed in the past in my life. and it was the place where I had been hurting like crazy. I found the stigma and read the description, and then the chat window started blinking. You have proved your faith by fully opening your sacred power with extreme patience. Your stigma has appeared. The god's interest and favor with you increases. Then, the oracle of level 3 is opened, and in the chat window, a sentence came to my mind. The god of benevolence, Oman, has entered your oracle. A god, who couldn't enter the oracle, sighs as the ground is gone. Another god, who couldn't enter the oracle, is spreading the mat. The stigma that suddenly appeared on my stomach and the fact that the oracle level had risen to 3 made me bewildered. In the meantime, the chat window flashed. The god of benevolence, Oman, enters the oracle and looks around. The god of love, Odyssey, slowly steps back and makes a fuss. The god of art, Mond, shakes his head. Maybe it's just my feeling, but it wasn't an atmosphere where other gods actively welcome Oman. The god of knowledge, Hest, pretends not to know and coughs. Perhaps there is bullying among the gods. I looked at the chat window with a shaky expression on my face and said, "Anyway, you're in the oracle, so I hope everyone is getting along well." Then suddenly the god of benevolence, Oman, seems to be moved by your words. The god of benevolence, Oman, confesses that he has bought your share. At first impression, he seemed like a good rookie. Then another sentence came to mind. But the god of knowledge, Hest, says that in fact, Oman is the most destructive of the gods. The god of benevolence, Oman, stretches out a gentle hand. The god of destruction, Seal, senses danger and reveals his fangs to Oman. And it was then, the chat window where the sentence appeared suddenly stopped. It was at the moment when I was worried in my mind that I might be being baptized by other gods. The god of knowledge, Hest, is temporarily disabled. The god of benevolence, Oman, likes your shoes. The god of destruction, Seal, falls asleep temporarily with tears forming around his eyes. The god of benevolence, Oman, pats Seal's droopy head, saying that he must be tired. Something must have happened, but I had no idea what it was. Then, the god of benevolence, Oman, winks at you, telling you not to worry. Anyway, the newcomer of the oracle seems to be adapting well. So that should work, right? Again today, after blurring the peaceful oracle room, I touched the stigma through my clothes. Obviously, she was a fake saintess when I possessed this body, but it seems that I have become a real saintess. There's no way. I shook my head, thinking of the girl coming from Chiago. Rai House, who was alone in the grand sanctuary and prayed while looking at the statue, "Please God guide my soul, and cleanse my impure heart." He felt a rush of people approaching behind his back, but he was just engrossed again, paying attention to the prayer. As he turned around after a while, he saw Dwayne's face, kneeling on one of his knees and waiting. Dwayne's face was stiffer than usual. He asked him with cool eyes, "What's going on?" Dwayne opened his mouth, still with a very stiff expression on his face. There was something bizarre happened and I didn't understand. I'm talking about the saintess. Rai House hardened his eyebrows at those words. He asked, "What is it?" The saintess moved a child, who was almost dying after being hit by a horse in the square, to the inn room and closed the door, because there was no hope. I thought the saintess would give her prayers for the last time so that her child could leave in peace. Dwayne remembered what had happened. Blood splattered on the floor and the child disappeared from nowhere. And the saintess's hands were full of blood and the child had vanished in thin air. "Are you sure that child was on the verge of death?" At Reha's questionable remarks, Dwayne nodded violently. "That's right. His back was broken and his limbs twisted, making him unable to survive. There was one window in the room, but no bloodstains were seen, and no body of a child had fallen below. If someone showed up and took the body, people would have found out. If the child is healed and walks out the window unharmed, it would be possible to disappear like that," Reha said. But Dwayne said, "It's impossible even if the saintess uses divine power. In that short time, there is a history that Bergarita, the first and strongest of the saintesses, completely brought a dying person back to life within an hour. How can Her Holiness Saint Ariel can bring back someone in just a minute. Rayha's eyes swayed. I'm going to meet Ariel. I need to meet her immediately. Scene shifts to Ariel room. I made the shop feature appear. Since the Oracle level was 3, there were still restrictions on items. But I thought that it was better because there were more items to choose from than when it was at a lower level. The money I have right now is exactly 2,000 franc, and at level 3, I was able to buy various relics. Mon's cup. If you drink from this cup, you will never get drunk. 250 franc. The god of art Mond recommends. Mon's cup. Ciel's ring. When you wear this ring, the dogs show their closeness to you. 180 franc. The god of destruction Ciel is proud of the ring. Omen's lash. When you wield this whip and say a special starter, all the opposite sex will obey you. 570 franc. There are all sorts of weird stuff. Is this really a relic store? There were also relics worth thousands of franc. Wow, expensive. As I was flipping through miscellaneous relics, I found what I needed. Hesid's bracelet. Wearing this bracelet will protect you. 340 franc, which is affordable. I don't know how much it can protect my body. I might meet that crazy guy who ran at me with a knife the last time I went to the night market again. And, according to Kyle's assumption, I might face threats after leaving the temple, so I bought it without hesitation. After a while, a crude leather bracelet was placed on my hand and I was occupied with it. The god of knowledge Hest is satisfied with your right decision. The god of benevolence Oman strongly protests against the shop. The price of Omen's lash has been adjusted to 30 franc. But I'm not going to buy that, though. Seriously, these gods are so wholesome. It was when I was satisfied with the bracelet I bought at the store after closing the shop. A knock was heard. Soon after, the door opened and the person who appeared was Rayhaz. May the high priest be blessed by the 9 gods. What were you doing? He asked. I was just looking at the scenery outside. Well, after all, I couldn't say I was shopping, she thought. He stared at me for a moment and then opened his mouth again. It would be better to enjoy the scenery outside than to see it through the window. A low, soft voice sweetly drifted into my ears. Like it's better to see Ariel like this in person than secretly. Ah yes, your holiness, I want to take a walk with Ariel, he said. As I walked through the temple with him, I stood in front of a garden where white rotunia was in full bloom. Against the darkening landscape, the white rose seemed to gradually radiate a mysterious light. As the deep blue night approached, the petals twinkled like fireflies. I looked at the bunch of flowers and said as if I was possessed, it's amazing. It shines like a lantern. The scenery I saw during the day was beautiful, but it was a flower that showed its true value at night. Rayha looked back at me, staring at them for a while with a slightly startled expression, and smiled faintly. Do you know the legend about White Rotunda? He asked. At that, I shook my head. No, after coming here and receiving the blessing of Hest, I have read more than 100 books, but I have never heard of that legend. Once upon a time, faraway kingdom. It is said that a boy was living in Altion in the kingdom of Pravado, and a fairy named Rotunia. The boy surely loved the fairy. But the fairy loved a man other than the boy, and the boy made his wish to the demon king to have her. The demon king told him to put a dying bird on a vine and put it on the roadside with thorn sap. The boy did, and the next day there was Rotunia, hanging on the vine. She was poisoned by the thorn sap that ruined her wings and lived with the boy. But she never smiled at the boy, not even once. The boy went back to the demon king and asked how he would make Rotunia laugh, and this time, the demon king told him to put Rotunia's broken wing feathers on a vine and poison on it. And the next morning, the man she had loved was trapped and poisoned to death. Rotunia smiled at the boy for the first and last time with a very lovely expression. She then died when she kissed the venomous lips of the man she loved for the last time. At that moment, I got goosebumps. The thought of her beautiful smile made the boy unable to eat or swallow water, and it was painful to keep his eyes open, so he stabbed himself in his eyes and blinded them. And the moment he died in his agony, he struggled to grab the white rose that had bloomed from Rotunia's dead spot. Rayha's voice was heard. That's why the flower language of Rotunia is symbolized as destruction of love. After a while I opened my mouth. That's not love. It's an obsession. It's just a crime. Is that so? Rehaz stared at the flower again. It must be an obsession to be greedy for something that needs to be let go. Why do it feel like love to me even think it's love? Because Mr. You are a psychopath. If you have a bitter heart you want someone to stay by your side forever, even if you break the wings of whoever you want. How displeased the gods and you must be. His low voice rang in my ears. And the moment my shoulder stiffened, a chat window flickered in front of me. Without keeping my eyes on him, I stared blankly at the chat window, then flinched my shoulders. His golden eyes were staring at me. The god of destruction, Seal, roars with deep vigilance. The god of art, Mond, lays down his infinitely light moral standards. The god of benevolence, Oman, encourages you to make him one of your humble slaves with Oman's lash. I think they're enjoying this a bit too much. I'm still not buying that whip. Ariel, flinched at Rehaz's dangerous remarks, were also bewildering, but he seemed to say something strange while I was reading the oracle in front of him. After a while, the chat window disappeared and only Reha was visible. He looked at me with an awkward expression and smiled faintly. After a while he spoke again. I was thinking about how I would react if you were a real saintess, but suddenly I came back with a long story. And at those words, I wiggled my eyebrows, a gentle breeze blew again, and the white rotunia swayed. The real saintess, you said, what nonsense are you talking about? I said to him with an awkward smile while hiding my true thoughts and fear of getting caught. It's you who made me the fake saintess. Why do you say that when you know it so clearly? He looked at me and opened his mouth. Remember when Ariel said to me you wanted this flower? If I plant that auspicious flower and see it every day, maybe someday it will dwell in me as well. You said that if you earnestly wish for something, it will come true. I thought this must be old Ariel's wish before I was reborn into this world. That's why the flower with this tragic legend is unfortunately also called the flower blessed by the gods, because it has hidden mystical powers. You said earlier that this flower shines like a lantern. And then he reached out to me and put my hand on my shoulder. The weight of his hand is carried with a throbbing weight. A low voice pierced my ears. The light of Rotunia that appears at night can only be seen with either divine or holy power. How can you see that, Ariel? Rehaz asked. I heard the sound of something crashing in my chest. That means I screwed up.